I wouldn't say a troubleshooter, but I've always been quite good at the diagnostic stuff. Started off as a minion kind of policy analyst.
Back when public service was public service.
Yes, just before all the reforms hit. I came into the New Zealand government in 1985. So that was just before the Longi government and all the public management reforms and all the economic reforms that came with that. And it was actually a very exciting time to be in government in New Zealand because everything was thrown up in the air and we were doing all these, running around doing all these interesting projects and reforms and what have you. And then I went from central government to regional government and worked for regional council. And then after that, I went out into consulting. And I did that because I came to a kind of a crossroads in my career. And the next choice was to go either further into the senior management stuff, aim to be a chief executive of a council or something like that, or go back into central government in that kind of senior role. But I had a scholarship at that point, and I'd been to the States for about 3 months on a kind of an organizational study tour. And one of the things that always bothered me about being in senior management positions was having to speak for the organization, where I couldn't really be honest. And often you had to kind of apologize for stuff ups in the way that people in the organization or politicians wanted to cover for that. And I discovered when I was traveling in the States that I much preferred the idea of being able to go into organizations. I've always been able to, I've always had a sort of an ability or a strategic sense of being able to go into an organization and see what the core of what was going on there straight away. And I liked that.
So
So
you're a troubleshooter.
I wouldn't say a troubleshooter, but I've always been quite good at the diagnostic stuff. I can see what's happening, I can see what's happening with people, and I can see how things are going to unfold. So I went down the consulting path, and that kind of came up serendipitously because I was recruited by one of the big consulting firms in New Zealand. And so then I spent a few years doing that, including quite a long period of about 5 years or so when I went out on my own because I got sick of, again, being answerable to big firms.